Hello, everybody. Episode 12 of Music Is None of Our Business. And this week we told you, we said in the last episode, didn't we? We're doing 1989, 5 LPs from 1989 each. And fuck me, this was hard. It was the narrowing them down, I think. I think I said originally I went on to Discogs and I just typed in 1989 on because everything is logged on Discogs of mine.
Just how long does it take you to log all of your records on Discogs?
Years.
I would have thought it does, yeah.
I can't remember how long it took, actually. It took a long while. I kind of started doing it and started logging them as and when I bought them, and then kind of went back through everything and kind of did it just in bits, did a letter from the alphabet at a time.
God almighty. And when you flog something, do you take it off Discogs or delist it or something?
Well, I try and remember to. I often, every now and again, I'll have a flick through and go, "Oh bollocks, I sold that," and yeah, and have a go. I think the values. I think you have three values, don't you? You have a low, a median, and a high. Yeah. I think my high value is something like 110,000.
Oh my God!
Or something. Not that you'd ever get anywhere near that.
No,
but yeah.
No. It just seems like such an incredible administrative task. I mean, I haven't put any of my records on Discogs to date, and I'm a bit kind of anxious about doing so because I've got this terrible fear that if I don't complete it, I'll be perpetually pissed off with myself for having done half a job.
I think it was because there are so many of them. I just wanted to have them logged somewhere. I remember when we were kids and we all had little exercise books, didn't we, with all their singles written down. Yes, but fuck off. We all had an exercise book with all their singles written in it, though.
Yeah, I didn't.
And and LPs. Well, you're just a fucking anomaly, aren't you? You twat. So I went through 1989, and there were at least 40 LPs on there. And and then I went online and kind of did a search for 1989 and found a few more that I don't actually own, but which are really good, or I'd had on CD at the time and never got on got on vinyl, because 89 was around the time we started switching from vinyl to CD, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess it was around then, wasn't it?
So a lot of them were on CD, and I never got around to buying them on vinyl. But I narrowed it down to 10.
10?
In the end. Yeah, I narrowed it down to 10 and then narrowed that down to 5. Although I did switch one about 2 hours ago because I've been listening through a whole host of them. I think at least one we've kind of gone into detail about before, which was the first Stone Roses LP.
Okay.
I think I've waxed lyrical about that before. I also I was going to pick Disintegration for The Cure.
Okay, yeah.
But I didn't, because I thought we're such big Cure fans that we might do something about The Cure later on.
That's a possibility,
I don't know. So I kind of left that out. And then I kind of had like 2 pop punk ones, and I picked one of those, and and a couple of others with kind of stories attached, really.
Okay.
Just so I could be my normal entertaining self.
Entertaining yourself.
Yes. Well, there's nothing, you can't beat it.
No. But, anecdotes are all to the good, all interesting stuff. I don't have much of that myself. My life's been something of a flat line with nothing interesting happening.
I'm surprised you can remember 1989, to be perfectly honest, given some of the stories you've told me.
I can remember it well because it was the year of the birth of my first child, Samantha. She was born in 89. Tiananmen Square and the fall of the Berlin Wall meant nothing in comparison to the birth of Samantha. A truly historic event indeed.
Fair play.
I was pretty straight in '89. But I didn't have anything on Discogs. So when you first mentioned let's do 1989, my immediate thought was, oh God, what have I got from '89? But you start looking, you think, oh my goodness, yeah, there's quite a few good ones.
It was a surprisingly fruitful year for records. There are a lot that I kind of dismissed that there was a Pixies LP came out in '89, wasn't there? I can't remember which one it was now.
I don't know really.
Was it Surfer Rosa?
Possibly.
Could have
not
been
a big
Surfer
Pixies
Rosa.
fan. Some good songs, but not a big fan.
Yeah.
So, are you going to go first then? You've given us a tantalising intro to 1989. All of the thought processes that have gone into your selection. I would think there were probably no crossovers this time.
I thought possibly one.
Did you? Oh, okay.
I thought possibly one. I don't know, but I'll do it first.
Okay, all right.
So the one I thought might be a crossover was Street Cleaner by Godflesh.
Now, I did think about that and I thought Dave is certain to have it on, so I won't put it on.
Yeah, no, that's my first one. Got Street Cleaner by Godflesh, which was released in November of that year. Although I kind of wish I hadn't said that now, because you'll expect me to know the months of all the other ones, but I didn't write them down. So Godflesh were or are Justin Broadrick and GC Green, otherwise known as Benny, I believe, on bass. Justin was his guitar and vocals, and backing them they have a thunderous drum machine.
Did they have a name for their drum machine?
They don't actually. No, it's not like Big Black. So the first time I was made aware of Godflesh, I'm pretty sure was I went to see Sonic Youth in March 1989 at Kilburn Ballroom, and as we walked out, people were handing flyers as they do, and one of them was for a Godflesh concert. It was Godflesh, and someone else, and I thought Godflesh, and the name rang a bell. And I think it was because I knew that Justin had been in Head of David. After he was originally in Napalm Death, he was in the original lineup of Napalm Death, then went on to Head of David. And I was quite a big fan of Head of David. I thought they were a great band. And I checked out their EP, which was self-titled, which I really enjoyed. And then Street Cleaner was released on Earache Records. And oh my God, what a record. I mean, Heavy just doesn't go anywhere near. I mean, at that time, I think the thing I loved drum machines at that time because of Big Black. Was Big Black. Big Black had a drum machine, and I liked the propulsiveness of the and the kind of the non-human element of it. You know, it was a machine. And listening to Godflesh, it was kind of Big Black, but they've gone from, I mean, whereas Big Black's guitars went kind of ching, Godflesh's went brrr. And
you planned that? Was that a spontaneous description of guitar?
I did think it was. Well, I don't know, because I always remember that Steve Albini's liner notes, they used to have. He said one of the LPs said that he did guitar ching and Santiago did guitar sking or something like that, wasn't it? To describe the metallicness of the. So whereas it was that metallic ching, the whole thing with Godflesh was just that there was just enormous riffs, and everything was just so overpowering and so overwhelming, and it just kind of threatened to smother you with the sheer power. And the vocals were so guttural, and we breathe like that, yes. Oh my, I just, it was amazing. I just thought they were fabulous.
Brilliant. A lot more feedback, I think, in
absolutely,
in
yes,
than Big Black. Not that was good or bad or indifferent, but that was a differentiation, I think. Yeah,
there was a kind of it was kind of the power was there, but it couldn't be held, and it eked out in like feedback noises, and does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah.
It was just this immenseness to it, and even more so on the later stuff. Pure, the next LP, was very much, and also the one in between. There were two EPs, weren't there? There was Slave
Oh,
State,
right. Yeah, yeah.
Slave State, and they did a dub and did dub versions of that as well, and remixes, and that was like they kind of incorporated elements of dance, not specifically beats, although some, a couple of them had kind of almost disco-y beats. Slave State itself, I think, sounds a bit like is it Rocket by? It's got that that kind
Right.
of thing,
Yeah.
Um,
I think
but
Street
yeah,
Cleaner
and
was the pinnacle of Godflesh is of all that I've heard. I know I didn't like Pure very much. I have Pure, and I've got a number of bits and pieces, but I don't think they bettered Street Cleaner.
no, oh no, Street Cleaner was kind of proper down and dirty, for want of a better expression, whereas everything else was cleaned up slightly. Street Cleaner was more primitive than anything else they ever did. But their kind of excursions into kind of metal industrial dub are fabulous. Justin Broadrick is a monstrously good producer. He's so influential. Godflesh as a band been so influential over the past 30 years now. Kind of pretty much invented industrial metal. I would
God,
say.
there's a lot
And
of
Justin's,
contenders for that one, and they're all a bit different.
yeah. I think Swans were going before. I remember buying Raping a Slave before
Yeah, that was
Godflesh,
definitely
and I think
before. That was a good 5
yeah,
6 years before.
yeah. So I think Swans were kind of a big influence on them, but I don't think anyone had quite done it like Godflesh. There was something quite unique about them, and remains so now. And even and all of Justin's side projects are all worth a listen. Yezu, which is kind of the more shoegazy thing, and then there was Pale. Here we go. Forgot the fucking name of the band already. That's a good start.
Sweet Tooth was one of the best.
Sweet Tooth,
Soft
yeah.
White Underbelly. What year was that? What year was Soft White Underbelly? Because that was absolutely roaring album.
That was 90s, I think that was. There was Final.
Yeah.
And then they had a band previous called Fall of Because, which they then re-recorded. And then Paul Neville went on to, who was another member at one point, he went on to do Loop, didn't he?
Oh, was he in Loop? I quite liked Loop.
Was he Loop, or am I thinking of someone different? But I know he did Maine.
Yeah.
Who were really good. Yeah, but I'll waffle
Total
now anyway.
One of their bands as well, or was that something different?
I don't remember. They released a single on Sub Pop as well, didn't they?
Godflesh.
I don't know. Yeah. There you go.
You're not doing well today.
I'm doing well tonight.
A good night tonight. Yes.
Fucking hell. Yes. Welcome to the ADHD moment, where I just forget everything I wanted to say. But yeah, they are Godflesh, Street Cleaner. That's my first
fabulous album.
That's my first pick.
We crossed over in thought only because, as I say, I was so certain that you would be putting that on. I didn't, but it is a classic from 1989. My first one then is Godothin, Test Department and Brith Goff, which is an absolutely splendid album. Test Department, bunch of
I don't remember hearing them on Top of the Pops. So.
I don't know what you would. As likely as Godflesh. Yes, a Test Department, for those who are not aware, a bunch of unemployed Londoners who wanted to be in a band, wanted to make music, couldn't afford instruments, and had a view that they would craft sounds from bits of scrap and broken machines that they found in abandoned warehouses and so on. Wrecked factory stuff. They did have
I never realised. I never realised Test Department were from
Where
England
do you think they were
for
from?
some reason. I just kind of lumped them in with Einstein Neubauten because they were, because it was the same, very much similar. They
started
type
out
of,
the same, with metal and so on, but they didn't move on. I mean, over their career, Test Department, you had that metallic noise stuff like Ecstasy Under Duress and so on. And then you had some incredible, huge, kind of semi-industrial classical records like A Good Night Out, a Pax Britannica, where there's a lot of spoken word, but a lot of bagpipes and strings as well as the clattering metal. Then they had electronic noise stuff, The Unacceptable Face of Freedom, a TDA, and that kind of stuff. And then there's electronic drone stuff. Materia Prima is 2 long drones. And they did some kind of a bit naff dancier stuff in between as well. So they ranged all over the place, but they started out with all of this clattering noise, very confrontational, very political, very left-wing, and this album is their 12th album in 1989. They've been knocking around since 81. And they teamed up with a Welsh avant-garde theatre group called Brith Goff. And if there's anyone Welsh out there who is concerned about my pronunciation of Brith Goff, I'm sure it's pronounced some other way, Brygo or something like that. But Brith Goff is what I've all known it. So the album Gododin first performed in a derelict factory, and the performance required 600 tons of sand, 30 wrecked cars, a flooding stage. This Test Department do great shows. I wish I'd seen it, but I didn't.
Yeah. Did they take that on tour?
I think they played it more than once, but whether they actually kind of took all the sand and cars with them, I don't know.
Did they have to find a venue with a scrapyard near a beach?
Yes, wherever Jesus and Mary Chain played the last week and smashed it up, that'll do. But it's on their own Ministry of Power label, and it tells the story of a battle at Catraeth in 600 AD, and the story, it's a true story, and it kind of mirrors to some degree King Leonidas and the Spartans against the Emperor Xerxes II, because here you've got about 300 Celtic warriors who take on the invading Angle army of 100,000, which is reasonably uneven odds,
as you would.
And they battled at Catraeth, and I think it said between 1 and 4 of the Celtic warriors survived, and obviously the rest is history. But the record, it's very martial, as you'd expect from a record that is oriented around a battle. Lots of bagpipes, drones, layers of percussion, and a lot of voices, a lot of spoken word. Some of that by the Test Department crew, and some of it by Brith Goff or Brygo or whatever. And it's so steeped with pain and sorrow and desperation to save the Celtic way of life, to protect the homelands. This all happened kind of like the northeast, near where Catterick is now. Catraeth is where Catterick is now, the army base up in the northeast. And it's not a joyful listen, but my goodness, it's powerful. My goodness, it is so full of that history. It is a marvelous record. Probably one of the best that Test Department did. One of the top 3 of Test Department's vast suite of albums. My first copy of it used to stick in the same groove. Oh. And the way it did it, always did it in a place where I could just listen to it doing that. Just this drone piece and the same thing being said over and over again. It was something like and many would not return to their mother's arms or something. It just keeps saying that with this drone behind it.
Do you remember what was the Damned album that's finished with Nibbled to Death by a Carpet?
That's Machine Connecticut.
That's it, yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. And that used to have a locked groove, didn't it? Nibbled to Death by a Carpet, Nibbled to Death, yeah. Yes. Excellent. Okay, and that's on Spotify, is it?
It is.
I haven't got to put the whole fucking thing on, have I?
I've got one track for you to go on there. It is track-based and it is on Spotify.
Okie dokes. Look forward to that. I actually did listen to, going back to last week, I did listen to the Marie Celeste and thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's great, isn't it?
And yes, and my friend friend Hannah listened to it as well, and she really enjoyed it as well, which I didn't see that coming at all. I've got to be honest. And I also got to listen to although I couldn't find it on Spotify. It's not on Spotify. It used to be, but if you look, it's blanked out, so I couldn't put that on the playlist. But I did listen to the Titanic one as well, and I thoroughly enjoyed that as well.
Excellent.
So yeah, very good, very good. I don't know Hannah's feelings on that one because she didn't tell me, but yes, so yeah. Okay, cool. So my second one. Now this is the one. This is the one I put in at the last minute because I'd been humming and hawing, but it actually contains one of my favourite songs of all time. And from 1989, it's the Psychedelic Furs.
Pretty in Pink.
No, Book of Days.
Oh, right, okay.
No, this is a much later one. This is a much later one. This was the follow-up. So, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows who Psychedelic Furs are because of Pretty in Pink. But originally, they were just a post-punk band, an English post-punk band, formed in 1977 by Richard Butler and his brother John Ashton. Was it his brother John? Was John Ashton his brother? I think it is. No, his brother is. That's right. His brother is the bass player. And I didn't write his name down. Tim Butler. And John Ashton was on guitars, and they were kind of this middling kind of post-punk band that were really good, but kind of didn't really seem to really get anywhere. But they released Pretty in Pink, which it's just one of the greatest songs ever made, in my humble opinion. And years later, obviously John Hughes made his film Pretty in Pink, used that, and all of a sudden they were just absolutely huge in America, and evolved into this American shiny rock band. You know, very well produced. Released an album in 1987 called Midnight to Midnight, which was just full of kind of radio friendly rock, and then kind of disappeared for a couple of years, came back with Book of Days, which was actually a flop, but it's just a brilliant album. They got rid of all the sheen disappeared, and it's just loud feedback in guitars mainly, played, you know, with kind of mid-tempo songs, but it's really noisy. And it's just so sad as well. The whole album just has this. The whole album just is one sad song after another, pretty much. Which a lot of that is to do with Richard Butler's voice, which has always sounded so, you know, like he smoked 1,000 cigarettes a day, and was always so melancholy. You know, you can imagine him walking around going, "Oh, I'm so sad."
Yeah, he has got a voice, hasn't he? I hadn't really thought about it before, but
and everything he ever sung just sounded sad. You know, even the upbeat songs sound sad. But this LP is just, I mean, I think it's probably my favourite one of theirs, and I think it was about their 6th or 7th album, and you know, so they were kind of getting on a bit in rock band years. But it was just so good, and I can't understand why. I mean, it's as I say, I think it's one of the best albums they ever did, if not the best album. There's a song on there called Torch, which is the only acoustic number they ever did, to my knowledge, and it's just an acoustic guitar and a cello, and oh my God, it is just the saddest song I don't even know. The thing is, I don't even know if the lyrics are that sad. They sound sad, but there's just this overwhelming sadness in his voice. So, like I say, everything they sing, so, you know, it's like, you know, oh, I'm so happy. You know, it's that kind of thing. Whatever he sings about, you think, oh my God, he's so upset. What's he so upset about?
Oh dear.
But Torch is one of the greatest songs ever made. Probably in my top however many, you know, I'm not going to say top 10 because I've got a top 1,000 songs, but it's definitely near the top.
I don't know it. I don't know
it's
it.
just so
I've not really given
so
Psychedelic Furs a huge amount of my time. I saw them live accidentally, but I've not given it a lot of time.
But this is the thing. I mean, I didn't really give them a lot of time until I realised how much time I had given them, if that makes sense. I honestly didn't realise how. Yeah, they did, and very much so. Probably since 77, 78, I got a. I remember in the probably early 90s, I picked up a double CD of all their. You know, it was it wasn't a greatest hits. It was just a huge collection of their best songs. And I remember buying it and putting it on and thinking, oh my God, I know so many of these bloody songs. And they just seeped into my consciousness. And again, I just think they're one of those bands where I'd never realised how much A, I'd listened to them, and B, how much I loved them until the mid to late 90s. And you know, I saw them a couple of years ago at the Junction, and they were fucking amazing. They were really good, and they just released another album after a long hiatus, and that was brilliant as well. They're actually touring soon with Anya from Exmal Deutschland as the support act. Yeah, but the only place they're playing is the fucking London Palladium that's near here, and it's the day after I go and see Godflesh at the Scala. So I can't really afford to go to 2 gigs in in a couple of days. Not in the current climate. Daughter just gone to university, no bloody money, and so I'm going to have to give it a miss, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to go. Unless obviously someone from Psychedelic Furs listens to this and wants to give me a free ticket. It's a long shot.
Oh, he's going to split it into a crowdfunding kind of a speech now.
Yeah, I may well do. But yes, so I thoroughly recommend Book of Days if you want to listen to something really, really sad. That's not really that sad, but probably is. It's a great LP. Anything by Psychedelic Furs, I think, is worth a listen.
Yeah, we have a lot of sad songs on our playlist. I'm not sure why that might be.
We do. I was thinking about that because when I was doing some notes, not that I do many notes, you can obviously tell. There's no point because I fucking ignore them, and B, I just go off on tangents all the time anyway. So, but I do realise how many times per episode I say melancholy, but I do. I mean, who doesn't love a sad song though? Who doesn't love a sad song? In fact, I've got more sad songs coming up. So, yes, there you go.
Should have called this podcast "Music Is None of Our Happiness."
Yes. Yeah, we should have done. Yeah, we should have just called it Miserable Wankers talking about music. That's probably more closer to that. Yeah. But yes, so that's me number 2, Psychedelic Furs, Book of Days, yes.
Okay, my number 2 is a change of pace a bit. It's Philip Glass. Solo Piano is the album. You'll know of Philip Glass, I'm sure.
Philip Glass.
American composer.
Is he half full or half empty?
I can see right through him. Oh, dear. He's an American composer at the forefront of contemporary minimalism and contemporary classical and the development of systems music, which sounds really cool.
All right.
Systems music is built around mathematics and theories, principles, rather than simply the music itself as a sound. He studied in Paris alongside Steve Reich and Lamonte Young, but it was when he was working with Ravi Shankar in the 60s that he really got into repetition as a core component of music. There's a lot of repetition in Indian music and Ravi Shankar's music.
I can't believe Ravi Shankar's never been used as rhyming slang.
Oh, dear.
I just
poor. Oh,
have you met that Jake? Yeah, he's a right Ravi.
Ravi Shankar. Oh dear. Probably been used. Might be a little bit racist. Who knows? You've got to be careful these days.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Why would it be racist though? It's just. I mean, if his name was
times.
Steve Shankar.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even think, yeah, piece of, oh, whatever. Anyway,
whatever.
Carry on. Don't tar me with that reform brush.
Okay, then. Solo Piano, then, is a really good album. It's almost an ambient album, whilst it has none of the characteristics you'd ordinarily associate with that genre. But it's so relaxing and so beautiful and so calming. It is really marvellous. The first 5 parts of the album are around Metamorphosis, which was Kafka's novel about the guy that wakes up one morning and finds that he's unexpectedly morphed into a giant insect, which I think is the story of Nigel Farage.
Is Metamorphosis the one with Joseph K? I can never remember.
Oh, I can't remember the name of the lead character in it. I've read it, I've got it, but it's a good story. But I can't remember if that was his name.
I have actually read some Kafka. I know you think I just read like comics, but I did have a stage where I read Kafka.
Yeah, well, it's a good book.
I think it was probably because of Joseph K, because I liked the band, and I thought I'd just find out, where the name came from.
There you go. Well, other than Metamorphosis, there are 2 additional tracks on this record. Mad Rush, which was written for the occasion of the Dalai Lama's first public address in New York and was performed by Glass himself on an organ during the Dalai Lama's entrance into the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. And then the second of the additional tracks, Wichita Vortex Sutra, great name, which was the result of a meeting between Glass and his friend Allen Ginsberg, where they decided to do something together. So the music is composed to match Ginsberg's reading. So Solo Piano is anything but challenging. It's really, really lovely, as I say. I do really like Glass's style. He's done all kinds of different things, but you can tell it's Glass throughout. Another record that I've got by him is a really lovely one, Aguas de Amazonia, which is an ethnic ballet recorded by Brazilian band Wacti. And he's also reworked David Bowie's fabulous Low album along with Brian Eno and created the Low Symphony, which is great. But as I mentioned earlier, he does a lot of stuff which is structured around repetition. Longest and most ambitious of his pieces is Music for 12 Parts, which is 4 hours over 4 CDs of very complex repetition which develops slowly over the span of the 4 hours.
I'd imagine you get a cramp after a while as well. It's 4 bloody hours.
Oh yes, indeed. It's something of a feat of not only technical skill but endurance for players to play it, because you've got the players who are playing blindingly fast arpeggios non-stop for 4 hours with absolute precision. So there's all working together and all developing together. It is quite a remarkable piece of music, although owning a copy, I've got to say, it can be a little bit of an endurance session listening to it, because what's this great 4 hours of this very fast arpeggiated music. It's a challenge of endurance for the listener as well. So, there you have it. Great album, Solo Piano, and Philip Glass, absolute talent, brilliant, love it. Anyway, your number 3, I believe.
Yes, my number 3. My number 3 is Bizarro by The Wedding Present.
Another one that I did toy with putting on. Okay.
I didn't know you were a Wedding Present fan.
I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I like that record. I've got that record. I think they're hit and miss. When they get it right, like a lot of bands, when they get it right, it works.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, I mean, so Wedding Present were formed in Leeds in 1984, and their lead singer is David Gedge, who, as it happens, was at university with Keir Starmer.
Was he really?
And yes, and they are still good friends apparently.
Oh, okay.
And also Stella Creasy and Andy Burnham are big fans of The Wedding Present. And Stella Creasy and Andy Burnham took David Gedge around on a tour of Parliament at some point. So there you go. There you go. Trivia Dave. They call me Trivia Dave.
Not so much Red Wedge, but Red Gedge.
Yes, absolutely. Very good. Very good. Yes, I'll mark that one down. I'll give you 5 out of 10 for that one. They were released some singles and then an album called George Best, which I kind of find, which I love. That is one of my favourite wedding present albums. In fact, this one, Bizarro and George Best, are my favourite wedding present albums by miles. I absolutely love it. George Best is kind of that. I think I like to think of George Best is frantic. Bizarro is hectic. I think that's the that's the difference between the two. George Best is one of the most frantic fucking albums you'll ever hear outside of hardcore punk.
We should call this.
You've never heard.
This podcast is the Dave Differentiation podcast because we've had the different guitar styles of Big Black, Okay, go on.
But yeah, it's so frantic. It really, I mean, the guitar, the speed of the guitars plays is just mind blowing. So George Best is a bit, I don't know how to describe it. It's a bit weedier than, it's not so fulsome. It's very trebly, George Best. But Bizarro, they kind of managed to make it a bit more, I mean, just powerful. Probably in the same kind of power to a degree of Godflesh. In the not in sound wise, but just that kind of that overpowering kind of room to it.
It's certainly more powerful than a lot of the wedding present stuff, and I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of the wedding present falls down because it's so thin and scratchy. It's just scratchy indie music, and it's just non-consequential.
And I don't like thin, scratchy music, but I make an exception for George Best because it is such a fantastic album, and it also it's not on the album, but the single from around that time, I think it was between George Best and Bizarro, called "My Favorite Dress," is fucking masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece.
You are hyperbole, aren't you?
I am. I do think it's another one of the greatest songs ever made. It's just that perfect song. You won't hear a more perfect song about jealousy and heartbreak and the end of a relationship. It is absolutely superb. See, I haven't even got onto this fucking album yet. Bizarro starts off with Brass Neck, which is just thunderous. Absolutely brilliant. And also the other massive song, there's Granada Land, which has one of the best pre-Mogwai quiet, get quiet, woof kind of things, episodes within it. And then there's Kennedy. And Kennedy, again, just, I mean, what a song. It's like, you reach this crescendo where you've got guitars, and these guitars are so powerful, so all-encompassing, and then it's like they're kind of going like, what should we do now? More guitars. Fuck, okay. And there's more guitars, and you think, bloody hell. And then what should we do? More guitars. And I don't think they are actually putting more guitars on there, but that's the impression you're getting. And then this little kind of tiny riff starts playing over the top of all of these guitars, but not a tiny little, this monstrous kind of, and it's like, what? You stick it through your headphones, and it's, if you like lots and lots of guitars, you'll be in heaven. I mean, more guitar, and it just builds and builds and builds until you think, if there's any more guitars on it, the fucking world's going to explode. I swear.
Guitar-mageddon.
It is. Yeah, it is Guitar-mageddon. So I did actually write, this is October 89.
Okay.
I did actually write the month for this one, yes. But yeah, so I think this is probably I can't differentiate between George Best and Bizarro. They're both equally brilliant. I think Sea Monsters was the next LP, which was produced by Steve Albini, and has highlights. But when I listen to it, I always think, I don't know why I don't like this as much as the others. And it never. I think because these two albums are so good. It's like with a lot of, I know I always bring this up, when you hit that peak and you can still make fantastic albums, but they'll never be as good as that album or those two albums. And I think this is another case of that. And they're still going now. I mean, I think David Gedge is the only original member left. But they tour all the time. I mean, I think there was two separate bands at one point. There was Cinerama, who played a more kind of slower type of music, non-frantic. Because but then Wedding Present are just going, and a lot of it is. I think they've done a couple of new LPs, but mainly there's they'll tour. I saw them on a tour for Bizarro. I think it was probably 30 years of Bizarro, and that was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And I think I saw them. In fact, first time I ever saw them was just after George Best, and they released a compilation of singles called Tommy, which is fucking brilliant as well. They just started playing Kennedy then, which was a year before. I think it was a year before they actually recorded the LP. And then I saw them the year after at the Reading Festival, when they played basically lots of stuff off of Bizarro, and they were absolutely brilliant in a not very good lineup weekend, unfortunately. So that is my number three. The Wonderful Friends of Keir Starmer. I don't know what's a good thing or a bad thing these days. Absolutely, yeah.
He's probably calling David Gedge now, saying, "Will you come out for a drink with me?"
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So yes, Wedding Present Bizarro. Okay. That's me number three.
Okay, cool.
Number three.
My number three, then, I'm going to start this one in 1958. I know it's 1989, but it's 1958, rolling in 1959.
This is going to be a long story.
No, it's not going to be a necessarily long story.
I'm not going to go through it. You're not doing a year at a time or anything. That's okay then. Every month.
Pad it out.
January 1950, and then February 1959. Fucking hell, I've grown a beard.
It's relevant. It's relevant. It's 1958, and Castro's.
Is it Elvis?
No, I don't know. If Elvis was anywhere near, but I doubt it. It's Cuba, and Castro's revolutionary forces are sweeping out through the Sierra Madre into Havana, kicking out the dictator, US puppet, corrupt bastard Fulgencio Batista, and some people decided to leave. The great uncertainty of what the new communist power would do. So a young lady and her little son were among those that fled to the United States, and off into the United States they went. And this young lady had a need to get married, desire to get married. So she married a Swedish stock car mechanic in the US and took his name. The small child, Alejandro Ramirez Casas, he took the Swedish motor mechanic's name as well, and for some peculiar reason he decided that he would change his forename to Alien. Shortened, became Al, and his surname was Jorgensen. Al Jorgensen.
I can see where we're going. We go. You led us a merry dance to get
here.
It
did indeed.
A merry dance to get it. But I know who you're going to say, but I can't remember what album came out in 89. Was it Land of Milk and Honey?
No, it's The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste by Ministry. A Ministry, when the young Al Jorgensen formed his band, the first music they made was Pants, to be honest. His first album is pretty rubbish, and it's, I think, the sound of somebody exploring what they want to be. But by the time The Mind is a Terrible Thing came out, I think it definitely got in mind exactly what he wanted to do.
Was Land of Milk and Honey the first LP?
No, The Land of Rape and Honey was the third album. The first was called In Switch, and then Twitch. None of those are terribly good. In honesty,
because I remember listening to that and thinking they've just ripped off Killing Joke. Would you agree,
I
or
think
am
it's
I
much
talking up
weaker
my
than that. Yes,
arse?
it is the first album, and I think it's weaker than Killing Joke. I think it's
A weak
a very
Killing
weak
Joke
Killing Joke,
copy
and
band. Yeah.
it lacks all of the components that make Killing Joke Killing Joke. It hasn't got the passion, it hasn't got the volume, it hasn't got the propulsive feel to it, and I don't think it's got. It hasn't got the kind of mindset that this is what we're going to be. This is where we're going to go. I think he's just trying to work out what he's going to be. The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste is still a very fine album indeed. So Al Jorgensen is formed in 1981. It is what you might call industrial metal-y kind of stuff. I don't know. It kind of sits alongside Front 242 and Skinny Puppy. Neither are bands which I like very much, but Ministry just seem to have that extra something when they're getting things right.
Do you not like Front 242?
No.
Oh, I fucking love Front 242. I thought they were a great band.
I think to be honest, I think it might be some subconscious snobbism because I'd been so into industrial music, proper industrial music, and then these bands were coming along with very polished kind of noises and electronics and so on, and they were being called industrial as well, and it kind of pissed me off.
I never thought Front 242. I've never heard them called industrial.
There used to be a lot.
That was more kind of. What they used to call it, EBM? Electronic body music?
Bands like Nitzereb and that. There's a whole. I mean,
yes, Nitzereb. I've met them. I met them. I won a competition to go and see them live, and then there was a secondary competition, and I won that as well. And I got an all expenses trip to Hungary to see them play live.
Really? Yeah, that's not a bad competition win.
Yeah. That was pretty good. Yes, I was chuffed.
I'm sure they're lovely lads, but I don't like the music very much.
They were very nice. Yeah. They were very nice guys. I've never really listened to Ministry.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, and because of that first fucking LP, because I thought it was shit.
Yeah.
So I never bothered after that. So I might have to revisit them then if you think they're good. That's good enough for me.
Again, I mean, they're not. It's like the Wedding Present. They're not. They haven't been consistently brilliant. They have been a band which has had ups and downs. But I think this album is one of the better ones. It's a good album, and it has some really powerful tracks on it. Thieves and Burning Inside are jagged, hot shards of sounds. It is really kind of gets your blood up.
It's visceral.
Yes.
Visceral
Cannibal
music.
Songs, a relentless, trancey kind of sample-loaded thing with Jorgensen kind of screaming and all over it. There's a track on it called So What, which could easily be 1979 Public Image Limited. The bass is all Jar Wobble.
Yeah.
The guitar is all Keith Levine. It's Walker era drums. It could easily be like that. Faith Collapsing is a pounding, repetitive juggernaut. And I think what's a weak subgenre of music, it really stands out as a great record. Al Jorgensen, I think I read an interview a year or two ago, and he'd managed. He's very proud of the fact that he'd managed to kick a 20-year addiction to heroin, crack, and methamphetamines, and he was going clean now. In as much as
bit like yourself.
He's going clean. He's just going to stick to alcohol and grass, which I thought was progress of sorts.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah. Just going to stick to drinking and serial killing.
I don't know how old he is. I think he's older than us. I think he's about 65, 66, I think. But he's still playing. I think he's the only member of Ministry that has remained touring. But he's got. I think he said he's given it all up, but then he says I've got a new album coming out, and it never transpires. He's on that kind of in that kind of place. But he records a lot of other people. Yeah. Some of his best stuff has been with Gibby Haynes of Butthole Surfers. The two of those get together from time to time, and they've done some great records together as well.
Excellent. Well, I might give that a bash then, because like I say, I've always kind of ignored Ministry. Purely on the basis of that first LP, because I really disliked it. Because I thought they were just ripping off one of my favourite bands.
Exactly, like 1919 did, and so many others.
Yeah,
I suppose.
God, I nearly dropped into a northern accent, and I nearly went all ripping into one of my favourite bands. I don't know why. Do you ever do that when you're just
I don't
talking
think
and all of
so.
a sudden you'll just go, "No, that's just me because I'm a fucking mental."
Some kind of defective gene somewhere that's a throwback to a northeastern life.
I've got a defective gene in my head.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, that was got. I got told off last time. Do you remember when I did the Irish
You
accent?
did.
I got told off
I
for
thought it
doing
was quite
that.
passable.
Shit.
I thought it was quite passable, but
Fucking,
what would I
no,
know?
not to an
No,
Irish person.
no.
It was an Irish person. My friend Brendan said, if you ever do that again, I'll drive over there and stab you in the throat, or worse to that effect. So, yeah, so no more Irish accents. In fact, probably no more accents.
Accents
ever.
off the table.
I think is probably, yes, absolutely. Right, so number 4 for me is Transophobia by Mega City 4.
Oh, right. God, that's a name I haven't heard for a long time.
Yes, I know, but this is an album that I still play a lot now. It is just one of those perfect pop punk LPs. I think they were one of those perfect pop punk bands, really. I mean, '89 is the year that the first Snuff LP came out as well, and they were both vying for this pop punk slot. Although I think Snuff preferred to be pop punk Northern Soul. That was their thing. But Mega City 4 formed in Farnborough in Hampshire in 1987. There was Wiz on guitar and vocals, Danny on guitar, Chris was the drummer, Jerry on bass, and I first heard them probably on John Peel. They did 4 singles before this album, which obviously I didn't remember to write down, but I know Distant Relatives was one, Clear Blue Skies, Dancing. No, Your Dancing Days Are Over. Was that or was that just the chorus? Anyway, they did 4 fantastic singles, and I mean in a proper, kind of. I don't know whether, excuse me, I don't know whether pop punk had been a thing before that. I know we had the Buzzcocks who would have been, but it wasn't a genre that you said, oh, they're pop punk, In fact, I probably didn't say that when Mega City 4 about. They were just a punk band, really. Transophobia, the title, was from their constant touring, and it was the fear of getting stuck in a transit van for another fucking drive, because they were doing something like 300 gigs a year. I mean, they were just constantly going around the country. And by all accounts, I mean, I never met them, but by all accounts, they were lovely, lovely people as well. I often see on Facebook people always posting up letters that Wiz had sent them. You'd send Wiz a letter, and you get this great big long reply back with badges and freebies and everything. And he replied to all of the fan mail. By all accounts, as I say, they were a lovely bunch of blokes. Unfortunately, Wiz died in 2006. He had a new band by then called Ipanema, and they were doing they were rehearsing, and he felt unwell. Ended up in hospital, died in hospital of a blood clot on the brain, which is really sad, because it's just one of those things. I don't know whether I should say it, really. It's always the nice people. The wankers never do,
empirically incorrect.
It's always the nice people who peg it. You never, apart from probably since Thatcher, I can't think of anyone who's died who I've kind of gone, well, I'm not happy about it, but I'm not really going to shed a tear. But anyway, back to Transphobia. Fantastic. I mean, it's just wall-to-wall bangers, basically. It starts, it goes through brilliant track after brilliant track, and then it ends. and that's about it, really. I know they were heavily influenced by Husker Du, because they used to do a really good cover of Don't Want to Know If You're Lonely. They used to usually end the shows with them. I saw them a few times in Cambridge. They'd always be playing somewhere in Cambridge when they, whenever they were touring. And great live band, great live band. I remember one show. There was a rather large lad got onto the stage, did a stage dive, and everyone just moved out of the way, and there was just this splat. And they actually stopped playing and were going, is he all right? And then he gets up, he's like, whoa, and everyone's like, hey.
I've seen similar happen with one of our erstwhile colleagues and friends, as you will remember, Mr. Cox, who used to be of large size. There was an occasion or two when he'd gone for stage dive, and the crowd, however packed in they were, managed to find a space to let it through.
I can imagine. I mean, yeah, not the smallest of. But that's what I never got about. I never stage dived, really? Because I always thought, the wankers will just let me go straight through, and I'll end up on my arse or in a heap on the floor somewhere.
It was fun. I think I spent the whole of a Napalm Death gig just getting on and off the stage.
Yeah. Well, these were the days where you'd rock up, you'd have your band t-shirt on, you'd have a pair of old army trousers, a pair of those big bloody cons boots.
Doc Martens.
My hair was quite long, and I had a baseball cap. And that was just your uniform for a few years around that time. And then you had, because you had like Mega City 4, you had Snuff, you had Leatherface. But then you'd also had, I can't remember this before or after, you had people like Ned's Atomic Dustbin and all the Stourbridge, Wonder Stuff. In fact, one of the albums that nearly made it onto this list was Pop Will Eat Yourself.
Really?
This is the day, this is the hour, this is this. Because I love Pop Will Eat Yourself. They were great late 80s band.
All those bands you just named I didn't like very much. So I kind of... diverted completely, all of that stuff I thought was insipid and banal and not interesting.
I think
of
we're
course.
wrong, with the greatest of respect. I think bands like the Wonder Stuff wrote some superb songs, some superb pop, again, kind of. I suppose they were almost pop punk to a degree, the first album especially. They got a bit fiddly with the bloody violins a bit later, but still remained a great band. But that first Wonder Stuff album is an absolute classic. And Ned's were great, 2 bass players. That was unusual at the time. Nice blokes as well. Met them when I used to work at the hotel just outside Cambridge, and they stayed there one night. I sat up talking to one of the bass players till probably at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, which was handy because I was a night manager. So I was just telling the other guys, I go, you just go do that, will you? I'm talking to a guest. But yeah, so great LP. I can't even tell you. I'm looking through the track list now. You got Pride and Prejudice, Severe Attack of the Truth, January. On Another Planet is great, but I couldn't pick a favourite song from that album. They're all so good. The only downside is it's not on Spotify.
Oh, that's a surprise.
So I can't share it. Yeah, I know. It's something to do with licensing and labels and all that old shit. But I will find there's a couple of the singles appear as bonus tracks on one of the albums that is on there. So I'll bung one of them on just so you can get a blast of Mega City 4. But yes, there you go. Mega City 4, Transphobia. Brilliant bands. Love them.
Not all bands, not all artists want to be on Spotify. If they've contractual freedom to determine whether or not they are or aren't, a lot of bands choose not to be.
Yeah, there's a few bands have recently. I know Godspeed aren't on there anymore.
I didn't know they ever were, but obviously I only had Spotify.
Yeah, they were, but it's really annoying. Yeah. But it's really annoying because I like listening to.
They are good,
to them, and I don't actually have. I've got some CDs and albums and whatnot, but I have to play them half the fucking time. It's just it's agile. When you work from home and you're at your desk. Yeah. It's nice to get up, but not too much. I just control everything from
exercise,
from
physical
my
movement.
Here.
God no.
So yes, fuck that. Yeah, if I can sit on my fat arse all day and
shameful.
just So that was me miming some typing. That was if you just heard some. Yeah, that was me miming.
The only man that can make typos when he's mime typing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I just spelled flipping on there. So.
Oh dear. Okay, all right. So, my number 4, I'm abusing my position as a co-presenter of this podcast by kind of semi-returning to a band. I've mentioned them before, but they've never had, only as a contributor to a compilation album rather than for the body of their own work. And 1989 saw the release of the second album by the glorious Terminal Cheesecake, and their album called
not them again.
Sorry, but they are so wondrous. The album VCL, which stands for Valium Chicken Leg, not quite sure why, but one of the things with Terminal Cheesecake is beneath this huge onslaught of bluesy noise rock, they've got an incredible sense of humour as well, a very kind of dadaist sense of humour. So you can have an album called Valium Chicken Leg with a cover of a drawing of a little girl all scratched with a birthday cake. But it's a great album, a storm of wonderful feedback and noise, but with great rhythms as well. Opening track, Dead Fish howls out of the silence, batters your earpiece, but straight after that, you've got one of the album highlights. It's only 2.25 minutes long, but it's Terminal Cheesecake's version of Lord of the Dance. Now, it's not on Spotify, but there is a video on YouTube of this 2 minute and 16 second golden nugget. There's nothing quite like it, and they've taken, because the track itself, it's a very heavily reverbed, very simple pounding drum, just completely smeared with feedback galore, and what sounds like a children's choir singing Lord of the Dance. That's it. That's the song. And they've put it on YouTube on some video from this Mexican horror B-movie where there are these 3 witch-like characters dancing. It's from the 70s. It's called Mansions of Madness, the film is. But just watching this, if you or the listeners do nothing else, just go on YouTube and look up Lords of the Dance by Terminal Cheesecake and lose yourself in 2 minutes and 16 seconds of glorious, hilarious, stupid, fantastic amalgam of a B movie and from Mexico and this wondrous remake of the song. So it's brilliant.
Well, it's
funny, it's sinister, all at the same time. But the whole album is fantastic. It surges onwards through lots and lots of stuff of a similar kind. They do Sex Bomb, the Flipper track, the US punk band Flipper. Right. Much better than Flipper.
I thought you were going to say the Sex Bomb, the Tom Jones
Flipper,
song.
Flipper.
That would have been good.
It's a million times more powerful than that. Then you got Shit Pump, which is a roaring freight train of scuzzed out noise. Gary Boniface or whatever his name is, the guy that's singing and one of the main guy in Terminal Cheesecake, he's just howling and bellowing throughout it. And Russell,
should we make that your DJ name, DJ Shit Pump? That would be MC Numbnuts, DJ Shit Pump.
It's better than Jungle Face Jake, I suppose.
I feel like I need to change. I feel like I need to change to MC Numbnuts now, though, because it's not as good as DJ Shit Pump.
Well, the guitarist with
available for weddings,
funerals, bar mitzvahs, party political broadcasts, whatever you like, we'll be there.
DJ Shit Pump, DJ Shit Pump.
Oh God! Oh dear, where was I? I lost my place now.
You were just debating whether to get DJ Shit Pump tattooed on your neck.
Keep thinking about getting some more, but never mind. Yes, the guitar player.
Oh fuck! I think I'm having an aneurysm.
Bring us back down to some sense of sensibility. The guitar player with Terminal Cheesecake, a guy by the name of Russell Smith, is one of my guitar heroes because the way he can create noise from a guitar is just remarkable. The curious thing is, Russell Smith used to be in Mars, M-A-R-R-S, who did Pump Up the Volume. And
all right.
So, which
shit pump up the
I see where it came from. Oh God.
Oh, welcome to 5 minutes of just fucking laughing.
That's good. It's good. I like it. DJ shit pump. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, fantastic album. I saw Terminal Cheesecake 3 times, and I think they were all in the space of a month. All in London, twice at the Garage, which was a big place to go to at the time, which was fantastic, and then third time at the Dome in Tufnell Park, which was a crazy gig. A transit van full of us went down there. And before we even got into the place, we were all utterly wrecked, stoned. And we got in there. We had a big ice fight at the bar, throwing ice buckets of stuff at each other. Oh, it was a great night. I was thoroughly out of it, and I was the driver, which was all very silly. Very silly.
Oh, don't take drugs, kids. Don't take drugs.
I woke up doing behind the wheel of the van full of people doing 80 mile an hour as we left the carriageway.
Fucking hell.
Oh, it's terrible. What?
I don't know whether I should recommend you edit that bit out or not, to be honest.
We're not proud of everything we've done in the past, but character building.
I don't think we've got any listeners in the police force, so I think it should be. I don't know if they can retrospectively get you for that. Comb back on 40 years of CCTV.
That would be quite some sleuthing.
Oh.
But yeah, Terminal Cheesecake are the GOAT, apart from Goat, who are the GOAT, and they're both the GOAT. They're both the Brilliant. Yes, so there you go.
Awesome. Number 5, and the final one for tonight, Galaxy 500.
Okay, yeah.
On fire. I absolutely love Galaxy 500. They were Damon Krukowski, Naomi Yang, and Dean Wareham. Formed in Boston in 1987. Now it's weird actually, because I love this album. This album, On Fire, is their second album. The first album was Today. That was 1988, and then this one, and then 1990. This Is Our Music. This is when bands used to record an album a fucking year, not this. We'll release the next one in 5 years. You know, I mean, the Punk days, the Stranglers, the first 2 Stranglers albums came out the same year, you know, and they're superb, you know. But anyway, I digress. So the weird thing about, now I know the first time I heard Galaxy 500 was on the TV. And I heard a song called Blue Thunder. And I was convinced that I'd heard that on Snub TV, which was which I think we've talked about before. Snub, it was it was probably the very first mainstream TV program that concentrated on indie music. I used to watch it every week. I think it was on Mondays on BBC Two.
It was certainly early in the week. Yeah. It wasn't all that late either, I don't think.
No, it was around kind of tea time, wasn't it? I think. For our 2 American listeners.
2 American listeners?
Yes, the guys from the DJ. Oh God, now I've forgotten their bloody names as well. Brooklyn Pete and
I never equated to American.
Yeah. Oh yes, they're American. Sorry, didn't I say it? Yeah. So for our American listeners, tea time is 5 to 6 o'clock in the evening, because depending on where you come from in the UK, you either have your tea or you have your dinner.
It's a constant argument in my house. What it is, tea, dinner.
Yeah. So you have your. But if you have your tea at dinner time, you've already had your dinner because dinner is at lunch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that will confuse everybody. Anyway, yeah. So I was convinced I saw Blue Thunder on Snub. Now I was researching as I do occasionally this week, which means just looking at videos and not actually bothering to write anything down. And I found the snub clip, and it wasn't Blue Thunder. It was one of the other songs from On Fire. And I was
Oh,
like,
weird.
but I remember seeing them on Snub, so I obviously saw this song as well. So then I did another search on YouTube for TV 1989 Galaxy 500. They were on Transmission, which was another indie program that was shown on Sunday nights in the middle of the fucking night. You had to wait up until like 1 o'clock in the morning
That
to
was
watch
an American
it.
show, wasn't it? Transmission. I think it.
No, it wasn't. It was British. It was British because that was the first. I remember saying it before. That was the first place I ever saw Leatherface.
What was that American one? Well, Passengers. That was the American reportage thing that had bits of music and bits of.
I don't remember that.
Passengers. That yes, I've got some of that on video.
We'll do our TV.
You wave your finger at me
randomly. Oh, I am waving my finger. Yeah. So anyway, I found the transmission. So that wasn't it either. But so now I'm pretty sure that I heard Blue Thunder on the chart show,
good grief,
which was shown on, and they used to have little clips, didn't they? And that was on a Saturday morning. Because back in the day, you'd watch every single music program because there was so little music on TV. You just felt obliged to watch everything. I think this was pre MTV, or it wasn't pre MTV, but it was pre getting MTV easily in the UK. So anyway, so I cleared that mystery up. So I saw them. I first saw them. First saw Blue Thunder on the chart show, and I was just blown away with it. It was so quiet and basically you had this lovely tight little rhythm section, and then Dean Wareham will basically play the same chord for the whole length of the song, and sing. And these were all quite slow, probably not melancholy songs, just for a change. Maybe a little bit melancholy.
Were they a precursor to shoegaze?
No. Shoegaze was more about the pedals, wasn't it? The effects and the actual. I think shoegaze was probably more of a kind of follow on from the G's and Mary chain, from noise guitars. I mean, there was a bit of reverb on Dean Wareham's guitar, but that's about it really. And it was just such a beautiful. I mean, I was really pleased. The other day, I was checking through Lily's playlists on Spotify, and she had this a really long playlist with loads and loads of albums on. Right in the middle was On Fire by Galaxy 500. Absolutely made my day. Absolutely made my day. And it's such a fabulous album. It really is just a lovely drifting away. Type of music. I think Blue Thunder does get a bit noisy in parts, but they're all very much similar tempo, just kind of lovely quiet music. They split up in 1990, and I think Dean Wareham went on to form a band called Luna, and Damon and Naomi formed a band called. Let me check my notes. Oh yeah, Damon and Naomi. So lots of thought went into that. And kind of really carried on along the general theme of Galaxy 500. All of them. In fact, we mentioned Luna when we were doing that TV themes, because they did a cover of White Horses.
Right. Okay.
At some point. I've no idea how an American band got hold of, saw White Horses as a good opportunity for a cover.
No, well, why would a British? I mean, it wasn't a British program.
But it was shown in. I think it was shown in Britain more, wasn't it? It was a constant staple.
It was on in Britain,
Saturday mornings and summer holidays.
I don't know if it was. I presume it was shown in America as well. I don't know how often.
I don't really know, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, they kind of burnt brightly for a while. I never got to see them. I had tickets to see them. They were supposed to support the Sundays at the Cambridge Corn Exchange in 1990, I think, and they pulled out, and we got Band of Holy Joy instead.
Right.
And then they did have a gig booked at the Corn Exchange, and if I remember rightly, they fucked off to London to record a TV appearance and cancelled the gig. Wankers. I'm not impressed, Dean Wareham.
I saw the Band of Holy Joy supporting somebody. I can't remember who they were supporting now, but I did remember seeing them live. Disappointed in their records. They were quite good live, but I bought a couple of the records.
Yeah, they were good live.
Bought a couple of the records. And...
same here. I saw them live. Support the Sundays. They were great. And then I bought a record and went, bit of a disappointment, really, and I haven't really listened to them since. I probably should give them. I think they're on Spotify, actually. I might give them a listen at some point. So now we veered off to another. Now I feel obliged to put a Band of Holy Joy song on the playlist as well, because we've talked about it. And the Sunday has just been on Sundays as well.
Yeah, I'll listen to what I've got. Certainly it's not a total loss, the recorded output that I've got. There are one or two decent tracks, so I'll see if I can find one and suggest it.
Yeah, they weren't a bad band. But yes, so Galaxy 500 are thoroughly recommended. I've got. I think this is the only album of theirs I've actually still got on vinyl. Okay. I just couldn't bring myself to get rid of it ever. In fact, I've got I think I've got a test pressing with I bought off of Discogs years ago. A test pressing with like the album proof sleeve as well. Yeah. Which is cool. Not it's worth anything.
They're not only test presses. When I was
nice little thing.
When I was
not really.
In the Isle of Wight, I went to one of those record shops in Ventnor, and there was a test pressing of a Fad Gadget record, and I thought, it's Fad Gadget's test press.
Right.
And I thought, well, actually, I shan't bother because it probably it's worth nothing. I've got the record already, so I didn't get it in the end.
Yeah. Well, most of my collection of Depth Charge records are promos that I've got off of Disco, because they're all cheaper than the actual albums themselves. So they're all white labels with just the titles scribbled on them and like press press releases inside. So do I need to put Depth Charge
Probably
on
don't
as well?
sound very good either. But
no.
Okay, cool. I don't know much about Galaxy 500. I know the name. I just assumed they were part of shoegaze, although, as I've said many times before, I don't really get a lot of the genres that have been passed through our culture over the years, but clearly not.
I think if anything, they would probably come under slowcore.
Slowcore, that's one. I don't think I've even heard that one before. Yes. Slowcore.
Yes, slowcore. That was like they were probably they probably one of the first slowcore. Slowcore was like Tortoise.
Oh, really?
And,
Tortoise slowcore.
Codeine.
Okay.
People like that. That's I just read that there are this particular genre, and
it's a journalistic obsession. I don't really understand, but we've been there before.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so my fifth and final one, 1989, Australian Jim, or J.G. Thirlwell, a.k.a. Clint Ruin, a.k.a. Fetus. In 1989, for some reason, he was particularly keen to get out of his contract with Some Bizarre. And he had a contractual obligation to do an album. So not having any material in particular, he put together quite a long album of collection of unreleased tracks, singles, B-sides, and previously released EPs and so on. He called it Sync. And it's a really good album.
I think I've actually listened to Sync at some point.
It's got a lot of it's got a good span of work right from the very beginning. It's got OK FM on it, which was one of his very first releases I think it was on a split 7-inch with Spite in Your Face, which I did get from Keith's and which I looked for when I was researching this. I can't find it anywhere. So sadly, that's somewhere it's parted company from me, and I can't remember why or how, whether I sold it, lost it in a move or whatever. But it's got OK FM on there, and OK FM right in the early days, right back at the end of the 70s, is much rawer than anything else or much of the other stuff that was to come. But for those that don't know, Jim Thirlwell, he is multi-instrumental, multi-talented guy. All of the instruments on all of his records he plays, all the voices he plays, all the artwork he does. And the interesting thing about Jim Thirlwell is that he regularly changes the name of the artist, if you like, but it's always got the word fetus in it. So he's recorded as Scraping Fetus Off the Wheel, Fetus Under Glass, Fetus On Your Breath, the All Nude Fetus Review, dozens and dozens and dozens of names that he's recorded under, all with the one word fetus in it, but all completely different. But everybody knows what it is. He has done some other stuff as well. As I say, he's also known as Clint.
Two left fetus.
That's one yet to be used. He hasn't come across.
Shall I email him? I'll give him commission.
I don't know if he's still out there recording, actually. I can't remember the last record that I picked up by him. I got quite a lot of his records because some of them are absolutely blistering. The Scraping Fetus Off the Wheel albums, Hole and Nail in particular, are absolute stormers. But this is a good album in its own right, as much as an introduction as anything else, because on there, apart from the early stuff like OK FM, you've got some of the really kind of filmic, cinematic, creepy stuff like Lilith and Smut, which are instrumentals, which just sound like soundtracks from horror shows. And then some of the more bombastic stuff, and he has a very distinctive sound. It's kind of electro operatic, I think, quite complex music, lots and lots happening in all of it, but it's this big operatic kind of feel. It's ordinarily got him drawling across in usually a very sleazy way, in a very strung out American drawl about things of misogyny and underworld and stuff. But it's very clever, and it's very good when it works. He also did Dirt Dish as Wise Blood, and he did that with ex-Swans member Roly Mosiman. And when he plays live, because he plays all of the instruments, he gets a load of people to come and help him, and quite often it's lots of the band Swans and various others. I did go and see him once in London, but same old story, can't remember much about it, to be honest.
Fuck's sake.
There's lots of growling and noise and so on. So,
where was that? Was that the ICA?
No,
or something like
was it was Queen Elizabeth Hall, I think, on the South Bank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can remember spending not as much time in the auditorium as I did outside getting wrecked. You know, it's just one of those things. So 1989 came out. My daughter was born in 1989, and when she was just a toddler, she was a big fan of Fetus, strangely enough. For some reason, she really kind of liked it. There's a track...
Probably because she'd been one not long ago.
Yes, it's a song about me. There's a track, Boxhead, and we used to have this box we used to put on.
Fucking, what was a punishment?
She used to enjoy.
Did have razors and stuff.
She can still see her just sat on top of her head, and she used to quite like that. She was a bit weird anyway. She often put a bucket on her head and all kinds of stuff like that. But
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
But it's really good, cinematic, noisy, creepy at times. A great sampler into the peculiar world of Jim Thirlwell or Fetus, you know, as I said, I don't know if he's still recording. Never even thought to have a look. The last album or record I got by Fetus was some years ago, and I haven't heard much of him. He hasn't popped up on my radar, so I wonder whether he's still out there. Probably is, but probably not doing the Fetus thing anymore. Probably doing something else, but I don't know.
I do see his. I've seen his name. I think does he do some production these days?
I don't know. He's fallen off my radar completely, to be honest. I haven't really looked at it.
I remember I've seen his name a couple of times associated with people, and I'm sure it's people who I've kind of listened to. Okay. So I don't know. Shall I do a quick Google? Would you like?
He's worked with a lot of people in the past. He's turned up with Coil amongst others, but he's quite highly respected in the underground music world.
No, nothing under news anyway. Oh, On October 19th, 2025, J.G. Thirlwell will perform a live score to the Harry Smith film Heaven and Earth Magic at Braindead Studios in Los Angeles. If you fancy getting a flight over there.
I think so. Oh, right. Okay. So that's the 5. That's the 5 from 89.
That's the 5, and that's the 10 in total. So we will get edited and we'll get playlist sorted out and we'll get that banged up. We then can think of a subject for the next one, which we haven't yet, although we have got a big list somewhere if I can remember where we put it.
Yeah.
But the year, I like the year thing. I like the year thing.
Yeah,
it was good. Yeah. It was good fun. If you want, if we could, we might do another year thing anyway. But anyway, thank you all as usual for listening. I don't think there's any news or any names to drop or anything like that.
Names to drop.
But we will. Well, yeah, when you say, "Oh, give a shout out to me, big up to me, bruv." Jim for doing stuff, and I don't know. I'm not down with the fucking kids.
Are our visitor numbers up or down or otherwise?
As I said last time, I keep doing those silly little videos on
Have you done
Instagram,
some more?
And I have done some more. Yes, I just did Man or Astro Man.
Oh, what a band!
With guests. Yes, absolutely. And I did that with a cat, and that went about. And so they seem to get about 200 views. And if I go on to the place where we check on stats for the podcast, there are always listens. There are always little spikes. So people are kind of going back, starting at the beginning, and then some are working their way through, and some I was thinking, well, a couple of wankers, I'm not going to bother. So that's a good little thing. I've also discovered that there's a thing on Amazon where you can print your own T-shirt.
Oh my goodness me!
So I'm really tempted to do a music is none of your business. And what I might do is if you send me the font that you used when you created it, I'll do something like the world's greatest shit podcast on the back of the T-shirt, and I can actually print on there a QR code.
Oh wow!
So you can scan it, and I can do a QR code. So you scan it and go to which I thought might be funny.
You are walking adverts. You'll be like the man with the sandwich board.
Yes. So I will be doing myself an extra large one. I'll do an extra large one, and.
I'd love to see it. I have to see it when you get it.
So I may well do that. Yeah, but so if you tell me the font you used, and I can do something for the back then as well. Yeah. So yes, listeners, if anyone wants that'll be available for £250 each. Limited editions. You could probably do. You could probably number them.
Yeah. Limited edition.
You could number them.
I bet you can do.
Yes, I think
mugs and key rings as well. I'm sure.
Yeah, probably a couple of mugs like us. Yes. Anyway, enough of this fucking precarious banter. Let's call it a day and say good night, fair listeners, and we'll see you all soon.
Okay, bye now.